Hey. What's up, everybody? Coming into quarterfinal bracket, freeland1787 versus SBDWolf here. I'm joined here by my friend Perfect Finn. Finn, what's going on, baby?
Hey to you, Snack. I'm excited for this. I had a lot of fun when we did this. I think it was Friday. Between who did we commentate last? It was IRG and Oh Heck It's Snack.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I've been watching, a lot of these races the past couple weeks. I was watching SBDWolf's race against Zytoriak the other day. That was really exciting to watch. SBDWolf, one of the best to do it. I think he's still got second place at like an 11:22, 11:23.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think Freeland is in 9th place currently with like an 11:30.
Yeah, 11:31. Yeah, these are both both pretty experienced and seasoned speedrunners. Freeland, for the most part, most of his catalog exists within the Castlevania franchise. He's a competitive speedrunner in Castlevania 1, 2, and 3, all on the NES. SBDWolf, on the other hand, a really strong showing in the Castlevania. He actually had the Triple Crown for a while, Castlevania 1, 2, and 3, but also branches out in a lot of other games. Currently grinding Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest. And I think he got a start, or he really hit the scene in a big way, speedrunning Cuphead.
Cuphead, yeah. Yeah, so SBDWolf has a pretty expansive repertoire when it comes to speedrunning. Definitely really talented. Freeland, kind of a Castlevania specialist. So be interested to see how their different experience lines up today. Definitely a battle of the titans. Two top 10 Castlevania players, and I think we're off.
Absolutely. So so the way that this tournament has been formatted is there were some qualifier groups, at which two players from each 4-person group, for the most part, made it into the top 8 bracket. And the top 8 bracket was actually seeded based on your performance in those qualifier matches. So SBDWolf actually took an upset during his qualifier matches and got seeded relatively low compared to his PB. So it actually turns out that this half of the bracket is extremely difficult. Freeland and SBDWolf both playing against each other, which I would say are a couple of the best players in the tournament overall.
Right. Yeah, definitely early for players of this caliber to be facing off. I know that's definitely stressful, having kind of a stacked bracket. I'm sure they'd like to be seeing each other later in the tournament, but I'm excited to watch it now. As both players enter stage 2 to try to line up for stopwatch. Looks like SBDWolf misses the early stopwatch. Freeland didn't get the stopwatch. Both players doing a bat boost. SBDWolf misses the bat boost. So we talked about this before the event started. I was watching his last race against Zytoriak, and he's been struggling with this trick.
Yeah, which is a tough one to really stomach because it's usually the first trick that you learn when you learn speedrunning this game, because it saves a huge amount of time. Normally on that screen, you would walk downstairs and there's like this aqueduct downstairs with water pits and fishmen throwing fireballs at you. But you get to skip all of that by just taking that bat boost across. And that's going to be a big time loss out of the gate for SBDWolf. At least he gets the back crit, because I think Freeland also got the back crit. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. Both players getting the back crit. SBDWolf missing the bat boost, so probably a good 7 seconds behind here.
Yeah, I think 5 or 7 seconds. Kind of looking at the timers now. 7 seconds on the money. So this is going to be a big deficit for SBDWolf to try to work up right out of the gate in this first race. Right.
Yeah, we had talked about before the event started a couple weeks ago on the Halloween Castlevania knockout tournament. Freeland was very competitive in that event, so SBDWolf can't really afford to make too many mistakes of this nature if he wants to stay alive.
Absolutely. So we're in level 2 right now. Level 2 for the most part is free. This is probably the easiest level in the game, and we can expect them to be able to do the same strats in this level without too much of a difference here. However, there is a new critical hit strat on the boss that I'm curious to see if either of these players go for.
Sure.
But even still, it doesn't save a ton of time. Maybe half a second, 0.7. Yeah.
Freeland moving through the Crusher sequence, getting the bat boost. SBDWolf doing the same. Freeland barely misses getting a nasty fireball from the back. But yeah, like you said, this stage is pretty free for the most part. I think that their performances here, their times coming out of the stage will be relatively comparable.
Okay, looks like Freeland's gonna go for the classic, just stun lock the Medusa boss down and whip her down strat. Looks like SBDWolf's gonna go for a crit here though. Let's see if he gets it.
Nice,
Very
he
nice.
does. Yeah, so that's big, right? You said it's a pretty marginal time save, something like a half to 1 second. But SBDWolf being behind, he needs to probably make some more aggressive moves and try to gain lost ground.
Absolutely, he's got to start chipping away at that lead.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of chipping away at the lead, this is a level that he can actually make a big difference in because it is not free.
Right. Yeah. Level 3 being probably the most notoriously difficult level in the game. There's a lot of, small tricks here that add up to pretty expansive time gains over the course of the stage. But just also, there's as we see Freeland taking a death on the bird screen. That's what I was gonna say. There's a lot of nasty enemies, a lot of pretty treacherous jumps, and just like that, SBDWolf back in the lead.
Yeah, that's not a terrible death to recover because the holy water is right there. Deaths in this game are usually difficult to recover because you keep your setup through the level. So like a game like Ninja Gaiden, for example, if you get a sub weapon in Ninja Gaiden, you lose it at the end of the level. However, in Castlevania, you keep what you brought. You bring with you what you have out of the previous level. So really, what happens in this game is you take a death and you lose your entire setup. But luckily, at the beginning of level 2 or level 3 here, you get the holy water, which you immediately swap out for an axe, which you immediately swap out for a cross. But it's still time. It's still time loss.
Yep. All right, Freeland manipulating the rosary drop, so makes the screen a little easier for him. As we see SBDWolf moving into the Ouija bridge, looking to drop a very specific number of frames on the screen, I believe 66, in order to manip both the enemies and the boss into a favorable pattern.
That's right. This screen, as you can tell, has a lot of birds, has a lot of fireballs, has a lot of skeletons. And a Castlevania speedrunner by the name of Ouija asked himself, like, wait a second, can we manipulate this by losing a consistent number of frames each time? Because a lot of the RNG in Castlevania is driven by how many frames you've lost on that screen when you encounter an event, such as rendering an enemy or getting an item drop. So he was able to design a relatively safe way to get through one of the more treacherous screens in the game.
Okay, SBDWolf dropping into the beginning of stage 4 at 5:49. Freeland dropping in. Wow, he's going to be over 10 seconds behind still.
So it looks like Wolf is going to miss the cave skip here. Usually you try to stop time in such a way to where that bat is high enough to where you can take a damage boost off and go up into that pink cave right there. And that saves having to wait for this raft to get here. That's about a 7-second time save, and Freeland is going to get it, so he's going to close the deficit up quite a bit just with that one trick.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to cut the deficit about in half at this point, so really big for Freeland to get that. Definitely needs to be making those kind of moves if he wants to catch up. So SBDWolf and Freeland both moving into what we call, I guess, Fleeman Alley or the Harpy screen. This stage, notorious for killing a lot of Castlevania speedruns. You can pretty easily get an axe sub-weapon drop on this screen, which makes the boss fight for this stage incredibly difficult. Both players here, though, it looks like they're doing a good job of navigating that item drop, and I think we're going to see a favorable outcome for both players.
Yeah, a big reason why you want to keep the holy water in most of the game is because it can stun lock enemies. So what you're going to see SBDWolf here do is he's going to drop a holy water right at Frankenstein's feet, and that's going to keep Frankenstein from being able to do really anything in this fight.
And he SBDWolf. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say the same thing you were. He scored the crit. Very sexy.
Yep. And that's 2 boss crits for SB. Well, I guess, yeah, that's 2. He got Medusa as well, so you love to see it. Players going for those very, very small frame window optimizations just to eke out every advantage that they can.
So I think we have SBDWolf about 7 or 8 seconds ahead of Freeland right here. I think he opened that up a little bit with that crit, but that crit only saves about a second, I think. So maybe about 8 seconds. Level 5, I don't know. Do we really have much to say about level 5? I would say that I would argue that it's also pretty free.
Sure. I think once you approach a certain level of comfort with this level, it's I wouldn't say free, but I would say the most notable time save are the skeleton bone patterns. Ooh, as we see, Freeland almost missing the bone boosts on the second screen.
His health is pretty low, so he must have taken an extra hit back there that I missed.
Yeah, he bonked on the troll skeleton right before the flea man boost.
Oh, I see. That's a shame because I know I was in his chat, or I was in his channel this morning, and he was practicing that quite a bit.
Yeah, it looked like he threw a holy water that missed. I wonder if he, didn't quite execute the burn the pass manipulation set up properly. But we see both players, getting their damage boosts, moving into this, these last couple screens of level 5 before we get to Death's Hallway and the Death Encounter. SBDWolf with plenty of health here, plenty of hearts. Freeland, a little bit low on both health and hearts. I'll be interested to see how he navigates these last couple screens.
So even though I said earlier that level 5 is free, there is a notorious part of this level that does seem to kill people's runs in a race or tournament format. Do you know what I'm talking about, Finn?
I assume we're talking about this bone pillar at the top of the stairs here.
Oh, okay. I was talking about... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, as we see SBDWolf hit a 4-frame window to throw a holy water on the bone pillar and get past. But what were you referring to?
I was referring to this usually very easy but sometimes terrifying boss fight.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's something we talked about, last time you and I were doing commentary together. We can see Freeland here actually stopping to whip down the bone pillar at the top of the stairs. But yeah, Death, if you can nail your inputs, as we see SBDWolf do, stun lock him with the holy water, clean him up rather quickly. But, very, very small window. If you miss an input, you drop some frames, Death's going to immediately come out of stun lock and start spawning scythes. And once the scythes start spawning, all bets are off. Fight becomes very, very difficult.
Absolutely. I would argue one of the hardest fights on NES. When I think about hardest fights on NES, I'm thinking Jacquio from Ninja Gaiden, and I'm thinking about Death from Castlevania. Just kind of going off the rails, throwing the sides at you left and right, and every time one of those hits you, it takes a quarter of your life off. So it's dicey. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, once you get to level 4 in this game, every hit you take starts dealing 4 damage. So you have 16 bars of health, you die in 4 hits. Not a lot of room for error. We see both players here starting the final level, Dracula stage, making their way across the bat bridge, doing very specific movements here in order to manipulate favorable patterns out of the bats, and then moving into Dracula's clock tower.
I really love this level because the design is it's a short level, but it's very punishing. You see all these birds and fleamen that it throws about. However, when you speedrun this game, you get the stopwatch and you basically render these. I don't know, is inert the right word here? Just shut them down. Just shut them down completely. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know chemistry, so let me back out of that space. Stay in my lane.
Both players opting for the safety meet here, but yeah, you're right. These screens are incredibly difficult without the stopwatch. It's very difficult. Once again, you can take 3 hits before you die. The 4th one being lethal. So really critical to have the stopwatch to manipulate those enemies. SBDWolf starting the Dracula fight, looking to set up a 2-cycle here. I think he's going to get it. Oh, he misses a crit.
My favorite thing about that setup, though, is even though he missed the crit, he still got a 3-cycle without having to do any frame-perfect attacks. So that's really nice. He's a little low on hearts here, but he looks like he knows.
Yep. You'll see players, try to keep an eye on their heart count and kind of switch their whip cycles, maybe start alternating every 2 whips instead of every 1. But yeah, SBDWolf finishing with a nice time here, right at 12 even. That's right on par with his average from the knockout tournament on Halloween. So, you love to see it. He's very consistent. Yeah,
good game, SBDWolf. It was really that death in level 3 that took Freeland out of this game, it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Never really was quite able to get that time loss back, unfortunately, which, that makes sense. It was a really sizable death. We saw Freeland go being slightly ahead to, a good 15 or so seconds behind. So SBDWolf, foot on the gas, continued to kind of squeeze out additional advantage through his boss crits and things of that nature. So,
absolutely.
I think that was a fun race. I think Freeland's probably a little disappointed with that result. I'll be interested to see what adjustments are made here in Game 2.
Yeah, without that death and Wolf missing the cave skip, that would have been really tight. Wolf did pick up a lot of. Sorry, I'm I was a little shocked by the overlay roll for a second there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wolf did pick up a lot of marginal time saves across the board. He executed a lot of strats really well. The only notable mistake outside of level 1's bat boost missed was the cave skip miss. And it's not, I say mistake as though it's easy. It's a 2-frame window, so it's far from easy. You know, I think Freeland was playing a really strong run. He hit the cave skip. He had a clean level 4. It looks like he did take a little extra damage to level 5 that set him a little further behind, and he just could not overcome the gap that he opened up by taking that death on level 3.
Yeah, kind of wild, right? SBDWolf honestly missing 2 of the most like critical tricks in the entire run between the bat boost and the cave skip, still coming out ahead. You know, if he hits both of those, he's looking at more like an 1145, something like that, so to give you an idea of, you know, how costly those mistakes are. But like I said, still manages to take it down, which is impressive. We're waiting for both the runners to get set up and prep.
I'm looking at the race chat right now. Freeland says, Chronic Bomber says you need a cowboy shirt. SBDWolf says, lol, I'm not American, though. Hilarious. Nice. So Finn, if you're a Freeland in this situation, what adjustments do you make, if any, to your strategies now that you're 1-0, you're 0-1 against one of the best Castlevania players in the world here?
Right. I don't know. I don't know Freeland particularly well, but you know, from the little bit I've talked to him and watched him, I think he's very, how do I put this, particular in the way that he approaches the game. I think he is one of those players who thinks, you know, there's an optimal way to play in order for me to achieve the results that I want, you know. So I don't really see Freeland probably straying from that path very much. I don't, you know, I've seen him playing the game a lot recently. I don't think he's going to attribute a lot of value from the last run. I don't think that's indicative of his, you know, skill as a runner currently. So I think he's mostly probably just going to shake that one off and just, you know, try to move forward and, you know, avoid any pits in level 3, obviously.
Right. Yeah. I think you're right. Like, Freeland's an incredibly consistent player. So yeah, if he's able to shake that off, which I think he's going to be able to, like, just looking at his webcam right now, you know, and right after he took that death, he seems to be in good spirits. And, you know, like any other game, if you can stay in that positive mental attitude space, you're just going to get better results, you know. And Freeland is not one to let himself get too salty over a single mistake like that. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, a majority of the top CV runners don't typically see too much, you know, quote unquote salt from these people. So, which, you know, kudos to them. You know, not always my personal strongest skill set. So, but I mean, it's good to see that these runners are able to handle these swings and, you know, keep playing the game at a top level. Very impressive to me to have that kind of patience, you know, for a game that requires so many frame perfect executions. And, you know, it can be frustrating, especially something you've spent, you know, hours and hours of your free time on and your energy. So when, you know, results don't match up with expectations, it can certainly be frustrating. But, you know, we can see, like you said, Freeland and SBDWolf both seem to be having a good time with this.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get started any moment now. Freeland was in the channel talking about football, so he seems to be in a good mood. How did you get into Castlevania speedrunning, Finn?
Almost on a lark, honestly. You know, unfortunately the pandemic started back in, you know, March, and I was looking for something to do with my free time. There wasn't really any single player or multiplayer games I was really enjoying. I was like, I'm gonna play some retro stuff, and I started playing Castlevania and Batman for NES. And I was like, you know, maybe I'll try out speedrunning. I almost started with Batman, but I picked Castlevania, and here we are.
Nice. The rest is history.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome. I think I think Castlevania is a great game to get into speedrunning with because, you know, I think it has a pretty low floor. I think it's a relatively accessible game. I'm thinking about you're like Batman and Castlevania. I'm like, holy smokes, Batman is like notoriously known as one of the hardest speedruns in the NES library. So
for sure, and that's not really readily apparent on the surface, right? You know, I had no idea. You know, I barely understood what a frame rule was 8 months ago. So very different perspective now when it comes to speedrunning those games.
So you're telling me everything is frame perfect in Batman? Hmm?
Yeah. All right, let's see if SBDWolf can get this bat boost this time. This is going to be huge. Freeland missed.
Looks like he did miss the pixel, and he took a knockback.
Oh no. It's very peculiar.
Missing a stopwatch isn't too bad here. Ooh, looks like he missed it again. Alright, I hope he gets it this time.
Yeah, me too. Very uncharacteristic.
So the stopwatch strats are relatively new for level 1, at least forcing him in that capacity. Usually what people do back in the day, I say back in the day, like more than 2 years ago, is they would just get this battle axe right here, which Freeland's about to pick up, and just smash the bat over and over again with axes. It's a super effective strat. He accidentally picks up the long whip. Finn, tell us why picking up the long whip this early in the run is a bad thing.
Sure. Yeah, so these players of this caliber are typically going to try to avoid the long whip for the entire run generally, just because picking up the upgrade itself is a time loss, I think about a second. But, more specifically, the cave skip that we saw previously in the last race in level 4, that's a lineup that most runners do with short whip. It's a very different lineup with long whip. I don't think a lot of players probably even have that like in their playbook. So I'll be interested to see if Freeland can even attempt it.
Yeah, when it was the conventional wisdom when I started playing that if you took a long whip into the cave skip, it was going to be a 1-frame window instead of a 2-frame window to get the cave skip. But we created a new category on the leaderboards about a year ago called 2-loop, which is exactly what it sounds like it is. It's just playing through the game twice. But on the second loop, a lot of things change and a lot of enemies are harder. And you need the long whip in the second loop. So SBDWolf and I figured out a way to set up the cave skip with the long whip, but it's a weird setup, and I like you, I'm interested to see if Freeland has this setup in his repertoire or not.
Right.
Please excuse my cat, he's being a sassy boy. Hi.
So we can see Freeland does have the holy water now, trying to get back to parity here. As we see SBDWolf hits the Medusa crit again.
Yeah, SBDWolf's he's on fire. It's like he took an early hit at the beginning, and I feel like he was like, oh no, not this. Let's focus in, let's buckle down. And he's just been on fire after that.
Yep, Freeland going for a standard Medusa kill, just stun locking with the holy water and whipping down. SBDWolf starts level 3 at about 341 on his timer. I'll be interested to see where Freeland's at. SBDWolf hits a fast Fleaman boost.
He's rolling into the screen that Freeland took a death on last time, so let's watch closely and see how he handles this. I think this is the first real hard screen of the game.
Sure, one of the most critical in the run. SBDWolf getting a great pattern, though, and nailing the execution.
Yeah. A big part of that screen is being able to appropriately identify accurately identify the patterns and do the appropriate setup for it, because there's a lot of patterns the game can throw at you.
Yep, Freeland also getting a good pattern though, and grabs the axe as well. So both players having a pretty comparable stage 7. Let's see if SBDWolf can manip a potion drop here. He does get it. Nice. Very
nice. I've come to think that that's the most important trick in the game. It does so much for you. It gets you through this very difficult screen where deaths are common, and because of the way that the memory in this game is set up, it also makes it so that you have a much lower probability of experiencing an axe drop in level 4. So it's really a huge deal to be able to hit that trick, and SBDWolf and Freeland actually executed on it beautifully.
Right. Yeah. Freeland obviously being at a different position in the drop table. That's why we see the rosary rather than the what some people call the sacred oils. Ooh.
Yeah.
He does get the oils on this screen though, which makes this screen pretty much free. Great screen. Another great screen to get this drop on.
Absolutely. And save for Freeland having any terrible mistakes in the mummy fight, which I doubt. I think both of these players executed this level 3 really well. Level 3 is the hardest level in the speedrun for sure. When new players
Ooh,
did I commentator curse Freeland here?
Yeah, he missed the overlapping hitbox damage bonus, and that fight kind of went off the rails, lost a considerable amount of time there.
Yeah, but when new players are like, "Hey, where should I put my time into practicing?" It's level 3 and it's Dracula. 100%.
Absolutely. All right, we see SBDWolf gets the cave skip this time. That'll be a nice about 7-second time save for him, kind of further cementing his current lead. As we see Freeland drop into level 4, let's see if he can do the same with, like we said, this difficult one-frame long whip setup. No. That's unfortunate. That's like I said, that's going to be about 7 seconds on the clock against Freeland. So kind of falling further behind here. You really hate to see it. I'm hoping that, I don't want to wish any ill upon SBDWolf, but I would love to watch and commentate more Castlevania. So, hopefully something crazy happens.
We love third games here.
Mm-hmm. SBDWolf having a pretty uneventful Fleaman Alley. Let's see if Freeland can maneuver through the screen as well without getting. Oh, actually, he won't be on the axe drop, right? He's far away on the drop table.
I haven't been paying too much attention to it, but I think Freeland has a good routine in here. He should be good and avoid it. Let's see if he throws the holy water at this. Yeah, there it is. So he did get that double shot drop behind him there, which is a little dicey. I think is going to be able to recover because he did throw the holy water at the bone statue, which, yeah, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So
he has no heart. There we go.
Nice. Yeah, the double drop drops. The double shot drops after you've hit a bunch of guys with your holy water. Those little snake bone dragon guys, though, each of their vertebrae is a different sprite. So if you can toss a holy water onto one of those guys, it's just going to rack up a ton of hits.
Right.
So it's a good backup there.
So we saw SBDWolf hit the Frank crit again. Freeland going for a standard strat. SBDWolf moving into the skeleton bone boost screen. Gets the, I believe we call that the alt bone?
Yeah, they look like alt bone to me. There's a lot of RNG on those skeletons, so there's a few different bone boosts you can take. Some of them are riskier than others, but that one's a pretty safe way to potentially save a frame rule over the slow bone.
Right. So SBDWolf taking the safety meat. Freeland, avoiding the extra damage that he took on this screen during the last race. It's a pretty standard bone boost. Let's see if Freeland opts to take the safety meat as well.
Finn, can you tell everybody what a frame rule is when we talk about things in those terms?
Imagine you're waiting for a bus. But yeah, essentially the game is only checking for completion every so many seconds. So, if like I said, imagine you're waiting for a bus and, a bus comes at 9 and 9:30. If you get there at 8:59, you hardly have to wait for that bus at all. Whereas if you get there at 9:01, you're losing a considerable amount of time waiting on that bus. So that's probably the most rudimentary, easy way to explain that. But yeah, Castlevania only looking for completion every so many frames. So if you're able to catch those favorable frame windows, you can gain a considerable amount of time.
The game will enforce a frame rule every time one of these red doors happens. So let's watch Freeland's screen. If the door opens quickly, that means that he just made the frame rule. If it's a little slow, then that means he's basically waiting for the next bus to get there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, SBDWolf at the death fight here. Easy peasy.
Nice fight. Freeland opts for a damage boost on the bone pillar at the top of the stairs.
Yeah, the damage boost is slightly faster than going for the skip, but it's so marginal. It's like 5 frames.
Right. And in order to take that damage boost, you typically have to pick up the safety meat, correct? So I think ultimately it ends up being slightly slower.
Yeah, the only reason why you do it in any percent is, like you said, so you can skip the safety meat earlier, which usually costs you 32 frames. So you're basically gaining 27 frames.
This guy, Two-Sneck, what a nerd.
Yeah, I got my first grade math down, y'all. Look out.
All right, SBDWolf doing a good job of manipulating the bat bridge. Moves into Dracula's clock tower for his first skeleton boost. Got a good pattern. First bone. Let's see what happens here. Another single bone. So nice skelly boost there from SBDWolf.
Yeah, good RNG right there. Oh!
Ooh.
look at SBDWolf's face.
Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead.
He actually got a good pattern there. He got a good pattern. If the birds come from the other way, then the screen gets a lot dicier. But now I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, that's very fortunate for him to be able to maneuver up that last set of stairs with the cross. You know, if he had caught birds from the other direction, he's looking at potentially just getting knocked to his death.
Getting across there, like, the bad thing about getting across is you don't have the stopwatch anymore. If you don't need the stopwatch, then the cross is fine because you're going to pick up a cross here anyway, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, that definitely could have been a game changer. SBDWolf very fortunate to make it through. See how this track goes. Once again, opting for a 2-cycle setup, misses, but gets the easy 3.
Very nice. Well, you know, he's just going to stunlock the last boss here, so gotta go ahead and call it here for SBDWolf, taking a 2-0 victory against freeland1787. Good games to Freeland. Freeland is one of the strongest players in the tournament, so, you know, the nature of the bracket was cruel to him, but I really appreciate that the bracket was done this way because I think it really motivated people. Ooh, sorry. Freeland actually scoring a really nice critical hit there.
Yeah, that was really pretty. But yeah, I think, you know, Freeland just had a couple really unfortunate mistakes. You know, things that are probably not characteristic of him, you know, and his typical performance in this game. So it's unfortunate, but, you know, it is a race scenario, so that kind of stuff can happen. Yeah, I don't think, you know, while Freeland's probably disappointed with the result, I don't think he's going to let it get to him. Yeah, GG to both runners. It was fun to watch. SBDWolf, just a little more consistent. Really impressive consistency with this boss crits today, especially.
Yeah, really clean there. Really clean. Okay, cool. So it looks like I'll go ahead and send them. Looks like we are going to try to get SBDWolf and Freeland in for an interview here. So I can go ahead and paste this into their channel or into their DMs.
You know, it is kind of wild though, but like both runners making some really big mistakes today, like missing, you know, bat boosts and cave skips. You know, I know that the game is obviously very difficult. A lot of these tricks have very small frame windows, but stuff like, you know, missing the stopwatch pixel or the bat boost, very, very strange for runners of this caliber.
Yeah, the pressure's on. The pressure's on for those tricks because they, like you said earlier, they're two of the biggest time saves. I think the bat skip saves like 9 or 10 seconds, and the cave skip saving 7. So I think the nerves can be a little spicy.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what both players say if because they didn't particularly look nervous. You know, they look like they're both having a good time, but I'll be interested to see if there was, you know, more going on.
Cool. Looks like we're going to get SBDWolf and Freeland in here for the post-race interview. There's the champion, SBDWolf. What's going on? Okay.
Wolf, if you're talking, unfortunately, we can't hear your beautiful voice.
Okay, yeah, sorry. It took me a second to get my earbuds going, so I couldn't hear you giving me the okay.
No worries.
Oh,
okay,
nice.
Hi.
Hey.
All right, so we have freeland1787 and SBDWolf in chat. SBDWolf, congratulations on your win.
Thank you. This match could have really gone other way. It's just Freeland was kind of unlucky today because he I believe he took a death in stage of 7, which is pretty rare. And I don't know what happened exactly in the second match, but I saw he was doing X threat on the bat box, and that put him far behind from the onset.
Right. Yeah, Freeland, I missed the stopwatch pixel, and then I noticed both of you guys struggling with the bat boost today. But yeah, I think that led to a, you know, pretty considerable time deficit right from the beginning of the second race.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I've always struggled with the manual bat boost. So, it's not new. It's not new for me.
Sure. Maybe a mental block at this point, you know?
Yeah,
nah, I'm just teasing. But yeah, Freeland, you know, a couple of big, you know, what I would call unfortunate mistakes today. I don't think that that's indicative of your skill as a runner at all. Race scenarios, this kind of stuff can happen. A single missed input, you can be looking at, 10 to 15 second time losses. But yeah, I think that you did a great job of, shaking off some of those events and just, continuing to put your foot on the gas and try to catch up as best you could. But I guess, were you nervous at all? In the second race, for example, missing, the stopwatch pixel, missing the bat boost, did that get in your head at all? Did that have any effect on you moving forward in the rest of the race?
It may have came off like that, but it certainly didn't.
Sure. No, I mean, you looked great. You guys both looked like you were having a good time. Didn't look like either of you were particularly nervous or stressed at all.
Not particularly. I mean, for me, it was definitely there, but nothing super strong, I guess. Especially since, I mean, the first match was already looking good. Second one, was also going pretty well. There wasn't much pressure on my side yet.
Freeland, what did you make any adjustments to your strategy being down a game against Wolf going into the second race, or did you just stick to your routine and remain laser focused?
Well, the plan was to try and win with consistency over speed. Of course, this tournament match ended up being about speed, so it wasn't going to go into my favor unless I played like on an 11.4x pace. I obviously didn't do so. That was something I was saying before the race started. SBDWolf didn't really give me much room. I'd have to play it pretty much at my A game in order to stay competitive in this race, and I didn't play that good.
Yeah, SBDWolf had a really, really clean run for the second run, but in the first run, that death in stage 7 really kind of let him have a chance because I think he also missed the cave skip. But other than that, the run was super clean. Wolf, I saw you went for 2-cycle both times. Talk to me about that.
I go for 2-cycle every time.
Always go for 2-cycle.
Yep, Tusnek, talking about it when it was happening, that the great thing about the current setup is that, if you miss, you have an easy 3. So, why not?
Yeah, okay. So 2-cycle, the 2-cycle setup has some risk because if you miss one of your jumps, for example, you might initiate your backward jump a little bit too early, and so you don't get any jump going. Or maybe instead of doing the backward jump, you do a neutral jump, and that's like really bad if that happens, because that's like a huge deficit. You're getting like a 7-cycle. It's bad. But sure. On the other hand, the advantage of going for 2-cycle is that you nail the backward jump. You don't even need to go for the crit. You have an easy 3-cycle. So I'd say going for the 2-cycle, the positives of going for the 2-cycle easily outweigh the negatives.
If you get the leftward, if you end up turning around on the jump, you still have a chance to set up a 3-cycle.
Yeah, also that's true.
3-cycle crit, which I got on race 2, I believe.
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead. I was going to ask Freeland, accidentally, or I guess not accidentally, like picking up the long whip upgrade in stage 1 just due to the circumstances. Tusnek and I were both wondering if you were familiar with the long whip cave skip setup or not.
Probably should. Because I'm not used to having the long whip that early in the game.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it's, I don't think it's something that most owners are probably familiar with. Tusnek, is that one that you would be comfortable, doing at the drop of a hat if you had to drop in and do it currently?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. You know me. I got the backups. I got the backups.
That's more of a second loop strat than the first loop strat.
Exactly. Yeah. It is the second loop strat for sure. But I've made that mistake before, the exact same mistake you made, where you're like, well, I'm boned and I have to go with the battle axe strategy, and I have like 10 hearts, so I need to dump a couple, and I think that I'm going to clear that small heart right before the jump, but I barely nick it in the back, and it drops a big whip on me. That's happened to me so many times.
I think the mistake was grabbing that 5 heart instead of just hitting the candles at the bottom, because the minute would have been the same.
Yeah, I can see that. I remember thinking that was a little surprised that you got the big heart, because going in with 7 isn't too bad.
I would have just needed to pick up one more to guarantee an easy kill. However, if I did get the specific pattern, 7 axes would have been enough because of the candle.
Right. Yeah. So something that Finn and I were talking about was like the tournament structure. I really appreciate that they put us in groups. and we had to fight hard to get a good seed in the top 8. But the way the cards fell, we have a really tough top bracket in this tournament. I before anything was said and done, I would have put both of you as favorites in this tournament. Do either of you have any comments on that?
Hoping not to get this race until one round later. Actually, my first thought after Cronin beat SBDWolf on Wednesday was, oh no. Now I gotta go through him first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I lost against Cronin, so I got C2 from my group, and now I guess this side of the bracket is pretty tough, to say the least.
Right. Yeah, and so I believe the bracket is single elimination. So it looks like 2Sec and IRG racing, I believe, later this evening, correct? And then the winner of that match, it will be playing against you, SBDWolf, right?
Exactly. Yep.
It's gonna be tough. I'm definitely not sleeping on IRG. We faced against each other. Definitely. There's a lot of really strong talent in this tournament. But last year we played in a tournament against each other, and it was a really close match. And he took a game from me. It was 2-1, and I think all three of our races were really close. And I've had the pleasure of watching a lot of his runs or tournament matches actually this tournament, and he's playing really consistently. So. Yeah, it's this side of the bracket stuff. I not to discount the skill of the guys on the other side too, because they're all very good players. But I wasn't looking at having to play SBDWolf or Freeland in the semifinals. I'll just say
right. Yeah, having three top 10 runners on one side of the bracket is pretty wild.
Yeah, but congratulations again, SBDWolf, on your win. And congratulations for your progress in this tournament. You've played really well so far, Freeland. Any other comments or any questions that you had, Finn, before we wrap everything up here?
No, I don't think so. Just wanted to say GG's to both runners. It's always so much fun to watch you guys play the game. Such an incredible level of expertise being demonstrated. But yeah, I wish you both the best of luck, moving forward. SBDWolf in the tournament, and Freeland, whatever you decide to tackle next. But thanks so much for the opportunity to commentate these races today. And thanks everybody in chat for hanging out and watching.
Absolutely. I imagine Freeland's probably going to be working on his Trevor only percent for Castlevania 3 for his AGDQ run. Yeah, be sure to give both of these runners a follow. They're both great streamers. And I also want to echo a big thanks to SpeedGaming for giving us this space to play the game that we love. Any comments from anybody else, or are we good to call it here?
I almost freaked out when I saw the cross drop in stage 17.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we almost freaked out too. You've got a really nice harpy pattern, though, on the final staircase.
Yeah. I got the lucky one, the lucky easy one.
Yeah, honestly, nice. Yeah, when I saw the cross drop, I was like, he could just die here. Like, maybe Freeland wins,
Yep. Could have very well happened had the cars been a little bit different.
You should watch the restream and see what your face looked like. It was hilarious.
I will. All right, thank you all.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.